And so they bow on bended knee as heaven throws its doors open wide and invites the travel-weary ones to come close and be welcomed in. And now at last they see, and now at last they behold their King.
Hey, why don't you just take a seat for a moment, and just want to take a moment and draw attention to the obvious of what today is all about. In 7 days' time, we'll be celebrating what we know as Christmas, and there's, as we're aware, there's all sorts of conjecture about, is this really when Jesus was born, and all those sorts of things. And in the big scheme of things, the exact date is not the most important thing. The thing is the most important thing. And there's a date in a calendar, the 25th of December, where we celebrate the fact that a God, that to a lot of people, both now and back in the era of what the scene behind me depicts, would have seen God as somewhat distant, seen God as somewhat uncaring, if they were to look around in the world in which they lived, if they look at the things that had taken place, if they look at the way humanity was, if they looked at the state of nations. This scene was in a nation that was occupied. It was in a nation where there was all sorts of religious conflict. Not much different to the world we live in today, where there's a world that there's all sorts of religious conflict. We live in a world where one nation seeks to overcome and occupy another, and history just keeps repeating itself. But the most important thing about this date that we remember is that this Jesus that we're talking about, the Bible refers to him at this point where his name would be Emmanuel, and his name meaning God with us. And just that meaning in itself is not God at a distance. It's not God watching on and not caring. It's not God who might be, but it is God with us. And the Bible says that this Jesus, when we're talking about and we're singing about him today, is nothing more. And I don't mean that to make it any less than God who made a decision to take on human form and come and dwell amongst humanity. That concept in itself was challenging then, and it's challenging now to think that a God that even some people, if they do believe in him, is so incomprehensible. And even if you don't believe in him, that the concept that God himself would take on human form and come and reveal himself to humanity. And when he came and revealed himself to humanity, the Bible says that he is, when you were to look at him, he is the invisible image of the invisible God, meaning when you look at him, if you to look into this what I'm holding here, this Bible, and you read what's known as the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you see the life that Jesus depicted. He is the visible image of the invisible God. And if you were to look at his life, if you were to study his life, if you even just to look into his life, you'll get a picture of God, not just of God as an overall picture, but a God in the who he is, a God in the what he thinks, a God in the how are his ways. If you want to know what would be the ways of God, if God was to suddenly turn up now in your life, what's he going to be like? Well, he's going to be just like Jesus, because he is Jesus. He's the God who took on human form. How would he treat you? How would he interact with you?